Well, hello everybody. How's it going? It is your host on the coast coming to you from somewhere off the coast of nowhere and just having a chill out Wednesday day today. I've only got this few amount of cards left to do in the tarot deck that I'm working on. And you can't be all work and no fun, right? So I'm going to be trying to finish up some of these. Let's see which one I've started. What cards have I got left here? We've got the Page of Pentacles, the Death card, the Star, Temperance, Eight of Cups, Ace of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, and the Moon. Have you been howling at the moon lately? Let's get started on that one. And I'm having my famous cup of mom coffee. My mom died very early. I originally bought this cup. I didn't really buy it for my mom. I just thought it was so pretty. The pink is actually sort of slightly pearlized. And I like the way they wrote mom. I think the mom on that looks really pretty. So I got the cup and then I realized, oh, this is for my mom. You know, my mom died when she was so young. This is for my mom. And when I, have coffee with this cup, I'm in communion with my mother. So, it doesn't matter how much time passes by, I'll always miss her. And sometimes I like to have conversations with the people in my life who have passed on. And when someone dies very young, it's very tragic. Very tragic. I find myself, I replay a lot of the events I had with my mom. And I think about her a lot every day, pretty much. Hey, Fan Jen, how's it going? My mother wasn't a perfect person, but who is? But I'm not going to focus on her, on her failings to me. And my mom failed me greatly, but I love her and I don't worship her, but I know that she had her own issues. Hey, Coco, Loco, how are you, darling? I know my mom had her own issues, and she was born in the early 30s, 1930s, and times were very different then, and women were not given a chance to be or do anything, and she lived under a lot of subjugation. So I just try and love my mom, and my advice to everybody out there who has issues with your mom: cut your mom a big chunk of slack, because your mom has come from a different era than you. Here's something. My grandmother was a Victorian. Now, how am I going to relate to my grandmother and all of my aunts who were from the Victorian age? I have pictures of them. I should show them sometime, wearing the Victorian clothing. Corsets, bustles, tight constricting dresses. That was my grandmother. And then my mother came off of that. And then I came off of that, a child of the 60s. So cut your mom a big chunk of slack. And maybe if you're having issues with your mom, which I see so many young women nowadays having more problems with their moms than we ever did, ask her what it was like when she was growing up, and what were her hopes and dreams, and maybe what was she allowed to dream. because coming from these olden times, you have to understand we didn't have a lot of the choices and the dreams. Certainly things have gotten better, but then I see one of the choices that has been taken away is birth control from women. So would my Victorian grandmother have ever dreamed that she would have the right to choose her contraception? She had so many babies. I think it actually ruined her life, having that many children. And then what did it do to her body? I'll never know, because having children is really, really hard on your body. So cut your mom some slack, people. Cut your mom a big old chunk of slack. Hand it out to her and say, talk to me, Mom, tell me. And, we can't demonize our mothers and say, oh, they're a narcissist and this and that and this and that. I know it's the thing. First and foremost, your mom's a human being who had her hopes and dreams and wishes probably dashed against a lot of rocks. She probably has lost a lot of things along the way. Hopes and dreams that she had. And most parents, 99.9, have really tried to do their best while struggling with their own maybe rotten childhoods, inner demons, physical problems that can manifest in the mental, maybe illnesses that were never treated, so take into account that your mom is not a perfect person. Here we have the moon, howling at the moon. We've got the two creatures. We've got the wild and the tamed, right? And then you've got just this deep, deep inner something that sort of exists between the wild and the tamed. A lot of symbolism went into these cards. The production of these cards was done really by kind of an unsung hero. She did a lot of intense study. She was not of the occult when she got into doing a lot of the study for these cards. And she put a lot into it. She put a lot of thought into it. Now we're going to make the river that runs through it this little tributary that goes all the way. Hey, Serene, how are you this morning? Beautiful baby. I got a massage yesterday or 2 days ago in a very, very cold space. It was so cold. And I tried to tell the guy a few times I'm cold, but he was running around barefoot in a yurt. This was in a yurt. His shorts and a t-shirt, and it was 45 degrees outside, and the yurt was probably maybe only 55. Thank you, Sunarana. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. And so I'm in this yurt, and I'm freezing cold, plus he's also giving me a massage on the ground. The whole thing was crazy, right? And I kept trying to tell him, I'm cold, I'm a little cold. Are you enjoying this? Are you enjoying? Well, I'm a little bit cold. And Dominic Nora, say what's going on. Do you mind if I ask you a question first? So, I'm in this yurt and I'm freezing cold, and finally he moves me up onto the table, up onto the bed after he does the massage on the ground, right? And he didn't warm up the bed before he put me in it. And it was like going into an ice pit, you know. And I tried to tell him, I did tell him, I said, you know, I'm just a cold person, you know, I need warmth. And I still do. My first goal every day, which is why I love the desert, is you want me to check your life? My first goal every day is, what's the temperature? How can I get warm? You know, that's me. Not everybody's like me, but that's me. And I tried to tell him, I said, you know, I was a very cold child. You know, I've just kind of been cold all my life. That's just me. Here I am making excuses to this massage therapist as to why I'm cold. Don't know why I'm doing it, but I am. And let me get another color here. He says, oh, you have bad circulation. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I might have bad circulation, but unless you can alleviate my problem and help me get warm, just telling me I have bad circulation is not going to help me, right? So the bed is trying to warm up, you know, and everything there is just old. Everything's old. Dude, I can't even. I don't know what planet you're from.
And what do we do when we feel like this?
This is, that's the question for you, Sunarainawa. Did you hear? What do you do when you feel like this? That's my question. When you're feeling the way you're feeling right now, but by the way, you have a very highly trained therapist here. Do you know who that is? The very highly trained therapist. Now, what do you do when you feel this way? The way you're feeling right now, what do you do? Let's answer that question first, and then we'll move on to the cards. Because that is a very important question. Obviously, you're feeling distress. And what do you do when you feel this way? Okay, yeah, so my first goal every morning is to get warm. So I'm on the bed while he's giving me this massage, and I can never warm up. A lot of times once the chill sets in, that's it. I have a really hard time. My hands got cold. My feet got cold. And he was shocked, and he said, oh, are you still cold? You know, meanwhile, the bed went from -0 to maybe 20 degrees or something. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm just a cold, I get cold very easy. He says, oh, let me get a blanket for you. He throws this ancient wet blanket on me. It felt wet because everything in the room was cold. I just couldn't even believe it. I couldn't even believe it. So finally, you know, and this yurt has these very, you're speaking in Hindi. My question to you, Sunarain, that was asked by this eminent therapist is, you're not feeling good right now. You're having some worries. What do you normally do when you feel this way? What do you do? There's a lot of ways you can approach this. Do you spin out of control? Do you overeat? Do you sleep too much? How are you right now? What do you do when you feel this way? Because whatever it is that you're feeling, it's not a good feeling. You're not feeling a good feeling. And so we have we have the creatures here. right? The domesticated, let's put this over here. We have the two creatures howling at the moon, We have the domesticated and the undomesticated. And then we have the creature, primordial ooze, also springing forth, right? Now you could either say that comes before this, or that comes after that, right? Depending on how you want to look at it. We're going to color this guy a little bit of fantastical colors. No, tell me how you feel. When you feel this way, what do? You're not feeling good right now. I'm just going to call you Sue. What do you do when you don't feel good? And if you don't know what you do when you don't feel good, perfect area for inquiry for you right now. The most important thing you could get from this reading is an understanding of what you do when you don't feel good. Because when you understand what you do when you don't feel good, that's going to help you in a lot of areas of your life, because you're going to start understanding who you are. And who you are is the most magical thing to know. Many people go through their whole lives not knowing who they are. Okay, so we've got this the wildish beast side, and then we've got sort of the domesticated side. And I'm going to color this little guy kind of a light brown. I was listening to some Hawaiian music this morning. I love Hawaiian music. Back in the day, before, all of this downloading stuff happened, whenever I went to the islands, I would get the CDs there to support the local people. And I just love Hawaiian music. And so I'm just going to color this dog sort of your basic brown. What may God help? I don't understand what that means. When you're not feeling good, Sue, what do? This is a two-way street here. You give me some information, and I'll give you some information. What do you do when you're not feeling good? When you're not feeling good, you write it down? Is that what you're telling me? So we've got the dogs, and then they're standing between the two pillars of knowledge. Hey, die, trauma frau. Trauma frau. I'm going to assume you're a female. Like a housefrau. Is that what you do when you don't feel good? Is you write it down? Okay, I'm not quite sure what more I'm going to do on the moon. I might paint the two pillars. I wonder what color I should paint the two pillars. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to do pink on them. I'm going to do, let me see. I've got two shades of pink here. I've got two shades of pink. And we'll color these in pink, going through the portal. You could be going through the vaginal canal here, the female energy, the female portal. Everybody comes through a vagina to get to planet Earth. And these will be the portals here. We'll color those. You want me to show you my house, but you haven't answered my question yet. What do you do when you're not feeling good? Okay, I think this card is pretty good. I could color in these, though, those guys right there. I think maybe I'll do that there. Die Traumafrau. Yes, I am doing cards today. Thank you. Thank you for asking me. And first, I will ask you a question. We have our eminent psychiatrist here. Pen and paper at the ready. I'm sure you know who this is.
What do you think that means?
Let's say, what do you think that means, Traumafrau? You know, I was thinking of coloring the mountains green, but that's a good idea. I'm not able to get up from where I'm at. I have a different pen that I want to use because these are very, how could I say? The paper is very absorbent and these pens are very kind of super porous. So like doing this right here, it's hard for me to do a lot of articulation and I have to be super, super careful. And I know there's a different color of green I want to do on that, but I probably will do that. The question he asked, do you know who that is supposed to be? Do you have any idea of who that's supposed to be? Traumafrau? Do you have any idea? If you actually are from Germany, you should know. I'm painting these gold. This gold pen is really pretty. It is Freud. You're right. It is Freud. The stylized version of Freud. Here, we'll have him ask you another question.
Let's bring it back into the room.
I love that question. You knew it was Freud. When you're seeing a psychotherapist along this, and he says, "Let's bring it back into the room," that kind of means like you're gonna circle back to that original question, the original thought that you had, right? You are? Oh my God! Well, then you must know Freud. It's about bringing that original. It's kind of like saying, "Let's circle back on that." So what would be more of a desire for you? You said you just kind of wanted a life reading or something. What was that? Let me see if I can find that. You wanted a reading. I know it's hard to have dialogue like this. But you can do it. Okay, what do you think the moon card means? Revolves around mystery. Yeah, I could see that as well too. Because the moon is mysterious, right? I have a bit more of a literal interpretation of the moon, especially in relation when I use the cards. There you go. See? See how you go, Trauma Frau? You're just taking it, girl. When I use the cards, I like to honor the symbology of the cards. So I will take a lot of my cues from the cards. My own personal interpretation of these being the vagina, the cervix, the coming through the womb, from unmystery into mystery, from the known into the known. I sort of added that interpretation to the cards. Coming from the primordial ooze and up is fairly clinical to the card. So I don't take a whole lot of leeway with the cards. There you go. See, you're going off on it. And the thing I like about the cards is I don't use them generally for divination. I like to use them for to stimulate thinking. Oh, and the sun is sleeping, and the dog and the wolves are asking for guidance and begging the sun to give them the full knowledge. See, now I'm an abstract artist, and in many ways, these cards can also be abstract, right? When people look at my art, they all see something different. They all see something different from what my intentions were, in a way, to perhaps what was actually created, because along the way, other thought forms get involved, right? And you have the substrate, and you have the day and the moon and the time, and you have what you're using to write with and all that kind of stuff. For instance, if I can get way up there, this particular up there, I think that's about as high as it's going to go. What I see in that is much different than what anyone else, when they look at it and they say, oh, what's that? And I'll say, I don't know, you tell me. It's much different, really, than what I interpreted. So the cards are going to be much different when you interpret them than when I interpret them. Well, I didn't bring out all my actual cards here to do a love reading. This one's drying. In fact, let me see. I have to get some cards. I was just going to do some coloring this morning. I wasn't actually going to do a reading. That one needs to dry. That one needs to dry. That one needs to dry. I don't really have enough cards in this deck to do any kind of a reading, so that's the only cards I got. Because like I said, I was not going to be doing any readings this morning. I was only going to be doing coloring on my cards because I'm coloring this entire deck. So you keep reading your own cards, and that's not healthy. Let's see if we could do a limited reading here. Okay, we'll try and do a limited reading with the cards I've got here. See if anything comes up. Let me have a sip of my mom coffee. I'm going to start a cult of the mother, where everybody who really loves their mom can join my cult. All the haters can go suck it. I know, but I don't have a full deck. I only pulled out these. Because I wasn't planning on doing a real reading. Let's see what we can get, though. What's your question anyways? About love. What's your question about love? Don't make me bring out Freud again. Don't make me bring out Freud again. What's your question? Yeah, anyways. So once I'm done coloring these cards, and I only have a few more to go. So I'm not going to be answering any more questions because I'm hoping to finish coloring these cards. Then I wax them. I wax them so they're shiny. Well, I think we've got enough in this deck to give it a try. Will trauma frows. Relationship. Singular. Get better. Is it going to get better? Let's see. Since we only have a limited number of cards, let's do a past, present, future. Past, present, future. See if we can get anywhere. Past, present, future. Yeah, they are too few to shuffle. It's only like 10 cards. I don't even think I could do the full Celtic cross. Past. Things were pretty damn good there. You felt very loved and taken care of. You felt like the star. And I think emotional needs were being met. Thank you, Hard Rock. We'll take that into account. So your needs were met. Your needs were met. There was a give and a take, as you can see from the water, the giving and the taking of the water. That was in the past. Present. You're looking for messages, and there's also messages having to do with money, right? I am a pirate. Having to do with money. There might be some hidden messages about money, and there also might be some situations about the grounding and the money that you're not even aware of. So that is kind of the present situation. Interesting. And in the future, look at look at the cards. The past, right? And in the future, in order to continue on with the relationship, these cards are very symbiotic. Oh, don't worry about it, Sue. That's okay. The cards are very symbiotic. In the future, you are really going to have to put up with a lot in order to make this work. And as you see, the giving is going to the giving, whereas before, the giving was much more holistically balanced, right? Much more holistically balanced. And keep your eye out for some of the earthly realms that are not being addressed or met, and some messages that might be coming about money. And there might be some money things going on that you don't know about that are contributing to your lack of getting what you need. Now, in the future, in order for this relationship to be sustaining, you are going to have to be very temperate. You're not going to be able to really express anger or feelings of displeasure. Dealing with some fragility in the partner, right? So in order for the relationship to continue, you are going to probably have to accept less. All right? And, the giving is going to go to the giving instead of the giving being, the holistic situation. And jobs, money, sense of grounding, depression. This can speak to the current issue of being depressed because there's no grounding. But also, too, these pages bring messages. So just keep an eye out for some messages. Yeah, okay. All right. So we did pretty good on that little tiny reading with just a few cards there. Let's see what Freud has to say.
What was your childhood like?
Excellent question. Are you willing to accept less? Die Trauma Frau. Are you willing to accept less, given that final card, based on your childhood? What was your childhood like? Were you acclimated to accept less? Were you raised to accept less? Interesting question. Thank you, Freud. All right, so let's see if this card has dried. All right, now, I'm going to do some community moderation here. And I'm going to switch this up to subscribers only. So once you subscribe, then you can get back into the chat mode. And there we go with that. That's a beautiful card. Beautiful, beautiful card. I love that card. Hawaii. I love that Hawaiian music. All right. I'm coming about to the end of this here. If anybody has become a member, and I'll give it a couple more minutes, and you want to ask me a question, I'll work with this existing deck. Now, my thing about tarot is I've actually been doing tarot for probably, well, I would say it's actually been about 40 years now. So, yeah, isn't that a pretty song, Sue? Cry for the people, cry for the land, cry for the things that were taken away. That's a beautiful song. Okay, so you're back. I'm going to ask you another question. You can ask me a question, Sue, and then I got to go. No, I think, Trauma Frau, we're done. You need to ask yourself some questions. Okay. How do you think your childhood is affecting your relationship to this person today? Okay. Can you color the cup pink and not yellow? Don't try and read my mind, girl. Don't try and read my mind. That's funny. Go ahead, Sue. What is your question? You have to ask an actual question because I'm working with a limited deck here, right? Okay, let me get started on this. Such a beautiful card. The woman who did this deck just did the most beautiful job. My pens are falling all over the place. And I got to give it a couple more minutes. Sue, if you have a question to ask me, go ahead, because I got to cut this off. I got to get out there in the day. I got to take a walk. It is absolutely beautiful out there and sunny. Ooh, these straight lines. Ah, ay, ay, ay. That is a really straight line. I'm going to do a countdown. If you don't ask me a question at the count of 10, I'm going because I got to go. 10, 9, 8, crap, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody, this is your host on the coast coming to you from somewhere off the coast of nowhere.